Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Gitte Mary and today I am going to just be a little bit vulnerable with you guys and share some minuscule problems that I have in my life right now. I don't know what it is, but whenever I talk about problems in the zero waste movement or like problems in my zero waste life, it always just, it sounds so vain. There's so much more pressing issues out there right now. So I would like to first of all acknowledge that that is in fact the case. However, people that are looking to be more sustainable or people that are looking to be zero waste might really benefit from having people within the movement talk about when they are in fact very far from perfect, or whenever they're compromising their lifestyle and what to do with that and sort of how to get back into it, etc. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about 5 things that I've recently failed at in zero waste, meaning products that I have bought even though I disagree with them, or habits that I've gotten like out of, etc. We're gonna talk about the whole thing. Wouldn't it be hilarious if this video was sponsored by like Coca-Cola or something like that? So one of the first things that comes to mind when I mention zero waste fail is something that I recently purchased for the 3rd time. So I recently hosted Christmas with my family and I wanted to do something a little bit extra special because I do the Christmas feast and it's all vegan and it's been 100% vegan for the past 3 or 4 years. I started implementing plant dishes back 5 or 6 years ago, and over time we just phased out all the animal products, and today everyone has a plant-based feast at Christmas, which I really love. But I wanted to do something a little bit extra for my family and sort of spice it up so it's not the same dishes over and over every single year, even though that has its charm as well. But I would like to introduce my family to new plant-based innovation, etc. So I ordered the juicy marble tenderloin steaks for Christmas and I baked them into a vegan beef Wellington. Not the beet Wellington that I normally do where I use beetroot juice and seitan roast and it's amazing and homemade. But I wanted to show them that this is in fact also products that are out there. And it does come with shipping from Italy, I believe, and it also indeed came wrapped in plastic. Actually, the packaging is quite minimal for juicy marble products. It comes in a cardboard box and in a smaller cardboard box inside for the product, and then a piece of plastic that I'm obviously going to recycle. But it is a lot bigger, the impact, than simply just making the things that I normally make from scratch. So I definitely see that as a zero waste fail, but I see it as a vegan win.
I have been working towards a zero waste lifestyle since 2015, slowly reducing my waste and learning more about waste management and our recycling systems. I've also had to acknowledge that no one can be 100% zero waste when our society is not designed for it. So my goal of my zero waste lifestyle has definitely changed over the years. While it's still important for me to be conscious and mindful of the waste I generate, I'm also looking to build myself a life that I can sustain forever. This means that sometimes, often, in fact, I am not perfectly zero waste, and that's okay.
By the way, did you see that I got a chair that turns, which means that I'll probably be talking like this for the rest of my videos on YouTube ever. I don't know. I'll try to calm down. I think it's important to note that I don't actually think of these things as actual like big fails or big flaws in my lifestyle, but I see them as compromises or things that hasn't been absolutely perfect or tapped into, you know, the zero waste purism train of thought, but more so as, yeah, things that I do that isn't necessarily ideal in the movement, but that I am sort of okay with. The next thing is also food related, and this is a product that I had to, like, there was no gun to my head, but it was a product that I felt necessary to purchase, even though I have gone without it for the past 5 years, and it's cling film. I phased out cling film a long time ago, back when I was still at uni in fact, and I never really had any need for it. Both cling foil and aluminium wrap I phased out a long time ago, and instead I just use solid containers for leftovers, or I use bees wrap, I use tote bags, etc. But I recently had to make a dish where I simply could not find an alternative that would work. The dish I made was a cabbage wrap with some filling, and in order for the wrap to be super tight, I had to roll it into the cling film and steam it in the cling film. And I could not for the life of me find another way of doing that. So now I have a roll of cling film that I'll need to find out what to do with. I think it will just be exclusively for this dish. So whenever I make this dish, I do have the cling film, but I think it's still really important to use these products consciously and mindfully, not overconsume them and overuse them. So that's also not the plan from here on out. And I'm not gonna like use it in multiple other scenarios where I could simply just use my reusable products, obviously. But this one hit a little harder, honestly, because I've just gone for so many years without the need to buy cling film. And it's one of those things that I've talked about a million times that you can simply just phase out. And you can in a lot of instances, but I might have stumbled into one of the few instances where I really couldn't. At least not if I wanted to make this dish. So anyway, that hit a little harder. That was a little annoying, and I had to sort of gain control over my pride. She survives. Now, another thing that I haven't had to compromise, but I've chosen to compromise, is soda or pop. Usually I drink water or lemonade, and it's a lot more sustainable. On the daily, I just drink tap water. Sometimes I put a little syrup into it, but we have some of the most amazing tap water in Denmark. It's so clean and amazing, and we pull it up straight from the ground. There's really no need to buy bottled water in Denmark. And as such, there isn't really a need to buy a lot of other types of drinks either. However, sometimes it feels so nice to have a soda. I generally try to avoid the bigger brands, both Coca-Cola and PepsiCo, because those two companies are the number 1 and number 2 plastic polluter in the world. And I feel the best if I don't give them my money. They're really shitty companies. However, it's not a 100% perfect system, and I have been at restaurants where I've gotten a Coke. So, it's that. What can you do? Anyway, whenever I do crave soda, I try to go for local, or at least more local brands, or smaller companies where I don't end up supporting this huge plastic machine.
The more I learned about sustainability, the more I realized that the physical trash in our bins only account for a small part of our daily impact. I still think it's important to not overconsume single-use products and to generally avoid a lot of the products that are made to only be used once. But sustainability is so much more than plastic straws and bags. Actually, the majority of it has nothing to do with those products whatsoever. Energy, transportation, our food systems, global tech, e-waste, textile production, agriculture, and factory farming. Those are all aspects of our consumer impact, and looking to reduce our impact in these areas can be so much more effective than refusing straws. But hey, if you don't need a straw, don't get a straw, obviously.
Okay, what else have I failed at? Another type of compromise I've made recently is that I've had to put a hold on some of the projects that I would really like to move forward with. So both my composting and my regrowing projects, I have decided to sort of stop momentarily, the same with my hydroponic system, and then I will restart these habits once I move into my flat. The reason why they sort of stopped, they did it a little bit naturally, I think, but I sort of lost motivation when I knew I had to move out of the house. I thought I might take up these habits again whenever I move into my flat, and I can just sort of gain a little bit better an overview of sort of how big these systems can be and sort of what kind of room I have available, etc. So I'm going to make a video of me resetting my habits once I move into this flat, because I do need to get back into composting, regrowing, and my hydroponics. But right now, I just have no motivation because I know I'll be moving with a lot of plants and a lot of fragile plants, and these sort of big systems is just so frustrating. So I don't want to do that. So it's a compromise in the sense that I would really love to get more into it, and there's so many things I want to experiment with and try. I just really, really don't want to right now. And hopefully I will gain a little bit more motivation once I move. Woo! And lastly, over the last few months, I have just generated more waste than I normally do. I have sort of been grabbing more convenience products. I have sort of been less good at going to my farmer's market than I normally do, which means that I've had to go to the normal grocery stores more than I usually do, which means that I've come home with more plastic packaging than I usually do. And that is frustrating when I know I can do so much better. There's also the notion that both bulk stores in Aalborg closed down, which is so frustrating. And I think it's important to note that motivation to be sustainable and what you can do in a sustainable lifestyle, it changes all the time, and it's sort of like a wave motion. So sometimes you just really want to do everything and you have the motivation to do everything, and other times you just cannot be bothered, and both things are completely normal to experience, especially if you're staying in this lifestyle for a long time. And I am planning on staying in this lifestyle for a really long time. So I'm trying not to beat myself up about it because it's just something that happened. But yeah, over the past few months, also because of big personal changes, I just haven't really felt it at all. But we're getting back into it, but it's been annoying that I can see that I'm generating more waste that I know is possible for me, and that I know that I can do. And that I like generating less waste.
I think it's important to be able to find yourself comfortable in failing at zero waste, because you are going to. It is basically built into the philosophy. I have failed and reset my habits and routines over and over again, and I have to tell myself that even though I haven't been the best lately, I can still make a big positive impact. My actions are still valid. And although I haven't been the best lately, I can always turn that around. Sustainable living is a variety of lifestyles that come in waves, and sometimes you have more energy and more mental resources to make more steps, and other times you have less. And I think it's important to vocalize this truth. Otherwise, we often find ourselves assuming that we're doing a much worse job than we actually are. I think when I started out, I had very little room for imperfections. I had very little room for pausing and unpausing. And today I'm a lot more tolerant of my own flaws, which in many cases does make for a lot worse and less spectacular or extreme content, but it does create a much more attainable lifestyle.
Anyway, that was 5 ways in which I have failed or compromised my zero waste lifestyle, and I am going to both repeat these mistakes, make new mistakes over and over. That's just a part of it, but I think it's really important to talk about, so we don't end up creating a narrative where if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter, because even imperfect sustainability, especially imperfect sustainability, matters a lot. And it's not about being the perfect environmentalist, it's about being an imperfect one, because that's what we all are. That was way too wholesome. I like talking about these things because I like creating a realistic narrative of what it actually looks like when you're zero waste, because it's not really a thing, it's not really what it means. I hope everyone can see that. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Let me know in the comments down below in what ways you have recently compromised your ideal sustainable lifestyle, or maybe things you failed at, and that's okay too. Leave a comment down below and let me know, and take really good care of yourselves. Until next time, see you then. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and also a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys help me create green zero waste content, and I love you guys. You can find the links to my social media accounts down below and the link to my Patreon on this screen. Bye!